It is good to be back, y'all. Welcome in. Monday. How we doing? Happy Monday, upstate South Carolina. Happy Monday, America. Happy Monday, world. Unless you're in like Australia, and then is it Tuesday already there? It's like late, I don't know, whatever it is, wherever you are. Happy that to you. Welcome into the Rob Brown Show. I am Rob Brown. On the other side of the glass, the alpha and the omega of the fan upstate, the conductor of the symphony of sound that is the Rob Brown Show, the sultan of swag, the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave, and the guy that I will let y'all decide if the nickname #DadKick still applies to. The great one, Lonzo, is here. Happy Monday, Zoe.
Big debate around my household about whether you're just trying to troll me or not. And then the main thing that I was told by someone that you and I both know and may play Dungeons and Dragons with, what do you care what he says about your shoes? And as I told him, he will make fun of me in front of thousands and thousands of people about my shoes. That's why I care. It's not exactly bullying, but you know, if it could be.
First off, let me begin by saying I would never, sir. I would never. The only thing that and by the way, you went wild with the #DadKick stuff. I just leaned into it a little bit. All I said was that your last round of tennis shoes were the ultimate dad kicks. And there is nothing wrong. I'm going to give you the example.
Do you call them tennis shoes or do you call them sneakers?
Honestly, a little bit of both.
Okay, because I call them tennis shoes. I was just shocked that you called them that.
Yeah, I've gone back.
Because you usually go with kicks or something like that. So it's, you know.
Well, I mean, kicks can be anything. Anything you put on your foot are kicks. Except sandals and flip-flops, which are obviously sandals or flip-flops.
Because you don't want to kick with those on.
Right.
Yeah.
But in anything, any closed-toe shoe, kicks. Sneaks is one you can roll with. Whatever you call them. I'm going to say Lonzo did a sub. Do you have him on today? I didn't even look.
Yes.
All right. Come to the stream, Facebook.com.
I don't buy new shoes and not wear them. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Come to the stream at Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate. Search The Fan Upstate on YouTube or search The Rob Brown Show on Twitch. And here, in just a couple of minutes, if he's willing.
Yeah, you'll have to wait till the break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have Lonzo display the new kicks.
I have to bring in a crane to lift my leg up.
And I'll let you guys decide if they are dad kicks or not. I said yes, but as the dad kick spectrum goes, everything exists on a spectrum. As the dad kick spectrum goes, they're towards the more stylish end, right? There's a little flair to them. They got a little color. They're not so just one solid color shoe.
Well, they kind of are, but this really comes down to money. I think if you spend more, then suddenly it's not that. And because I am willing to go somewhere and buy shoes where I get the second pair half off, I think that's a smart move. Are you going to get the high end Jordans there? No, you're not. You're going to get stuff that's practical, still looks pretty good, and that you can wear with just about anything that you normally wear.
So that we're clear, the concept of dad kicks has nothing to do with the cost.
Yeah, you didn't spend half your paycheck. Those are not good shoes.
The concept of a dad kick is not the cost. There are very expensive dad kicks, and there are very inexpensive non-dad kicks. There are different levels. There are different levels of dad kicks. On the spectrum, those shoes, I think, still qualify as dad kicks. However, on the spectrum of dad kicks, they're towards the end. That's like you're threatening to venture into non-dad kick territory.
What if I say I saw a teenager roughly between 14 and 17, because it's hard to tell, buy the same shoes?
That doesn't change the status of the shoe. It just means that that kid is wearing dad kicks. It is not obligatory for you to be a dad to be wearing dad kicks. Dad kicks can be worn by anybody. They're still dad kicks.
Again, if you look up dad kicks, there's really pretty much one pair that shows up. If
White
you Google,
New Balances.
Yeah, no, not New Balances. Actually, the Nike, whatever those things.
Or the Nike Monarchs.
Monarchs,
Those are
yeah,
up there.
Yeah. Everything New Balance is dad stuff. As someone who grew up wearing shoes from Kmart that were Velcro strap rather, everything's an upgrade for me.
Dad kicks are not any particular brand or style or anything. Dad kicks are they're just dad kicks. It's just a vibe, man. It's just a vibe. Look, if you
so I am the only one on this station who wears those kind of shoes that you're talking about.
I don't know the answer. There's only one other person on the station. When you say on the station, you mean on the air?
Yes.
Of the four of us, there's only one other person that I think might rock dad kicks. Diesel's a boots guy, so you're not going to often catch him in the dads.
Is he? He doesn't wear boots when he wears shorts.
I don't know. I may have to stick around a little late this afternoon to find out.
That's if you wear boots with shorts, that's just weird.
Yeah, it is. I don't think he does. I don't think Diesel's on the dad kick vibe. I am not on the dad kick vibe.
Listen, I know you have to be careful about the other person, but everyone has to tiptoe, so to speak, about the other person. I'm not. I'm going to say that Mark Ryan probably has the best shoes out of all of us. So, including, he probably puts your shoes to shame.
I can be honest and tell you, I don't know.
Because he cares about how he looks. I've heard the commercials.
That's a good question. I don't know. So, coming up during the break, we will have Alonzo display on the stream his new set of sneaks, and we'll see if we are going to drop the moniker #DadKicks or if it sticks around a little longer.
I will tell you, my shoes are so functional, I could wear them to church, to a biker bar, or
you understand that that's a key fundamental part of dad kicks.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if you're wearing that kind of shoe and it stands out to the point you're like, oh, he really bought those?
Yeah, listen,
that's not what's going to happen.
Part of what defines dad kicks as dad kicks is that they are designed so that you only have to buy that pair of shoes because you'll wear it golfing, or you'll wear it on the boat, or you'll wear it to the restaurant, or you'll wear it to literally anything. The dad kick is the most versatile of the shoes, right? I went the other day because I am young, stylish, hip, the kids might say. And I got myself a pair of black Chelsea boots. These are the in vogue boots right now, right?
Wow. Chelsea boots.
Yes, it's a very particular
Did
style
you ask to
boot.
speak to the manager?
Didn't need to. I knew what I was going for. Got myself a pair of Chelsea boots. They're very nice boots. And
as a one percenter, you don't need to ask. You know what the it brands are. You just automatically go to, and
Chelsea's a style, not a brand.
I was going to say, the other thing is you go to certain stores, they're not going to have any off-brand dad kick type stuff. They're going to have the 1% type stuff.
They're not 1%.
Then you buy the middle of the road things because you don't want people to think you're one of the poors trying to come to the 1% store.
I got a pair of Chelsea boots. They're very nice boots. They go great with my light acid wash jeans. They go great with a regular pair of jeans. But here's the thing. You can't just wear them everywhere, right? Like I'm not going to throw them on to go down to the beach.
By the way, Steven, on stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, Steven has a great point there. I'm not going to say it, but he has a great point there.
I think Rob's deeper underlying problem with hashtag dad kicks is Rob hates kids, so therefore hates dad kicks. No.
Yeah, because you can't,
know,
in order for them to be dad kicks, you actually have to be a dad, which would involve kids.
I am humored every time by the fact that I can say a thing and the very next sentence just completely.
You almost did this, right? You were so close.
Listen. So the ultimate premise, the number one qualification for a thing to be a dad kick is the versatility of the kick. You can wear it to anywhere. Johnny's got to play down at the school this week. You can put on the Nike Monarchs. They're going to fit. You're going to go run up and down with the boys at the Y this weekend. You can put on the Air Monarchs. They're going to get you through that. You're going to head down to the beach. Throw on the Air Monarchs. The number one guy. That is why when you think ultimate dad kick, the ultimate dad kick is the white New Balance shoe. Why? It's very, very comfortable, and it pairs with you can wear it with khakis.
I am never wearing no New Balance. You keep saying that. So
that's the ultimate. Yeah, it's not the only, but it's the ultimate dad kick is the all white New Balance because it goes with jeans, khakis, shorts.
All right, I'm gonna take back never. If New Balance decides to sponsor this program, at least half of the program will be rocking some New Balance. Rob I
got no problem.
May have standards above that.
New Balance puts out some very comfortable kicks. But and I'm not saying this about New Balance, I'm saying this about everything. There comes a point when you venture into hashtag dad kick world where you begin to sacrifice style for comfort, right? And I think for the record, I'm hitting this age myself. There comes a point where you stop concerning yourself with comfort or with branding and style, and you start concerning yourself with comfort. I'm literally wearing a pair of shoes right now. They're running shoes, right? Made by a brand I had never heard of until about 3 weeks ago, when I went to go buy a pair of running shoes because I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get myself out there. I've been walking at least a mile every night for the past 2 weeks or so, trying to get better about it, trying to up the game. And I decided, let me try some actual running shoes, see if that helps. And I bought a pair of shoes. Lonzo, when I moved here, I never would have bought these shoes. All right? I don't like these shoes. As far as their appearance, I don't like the color scheme.
Is that Tennessee orange on there?
It's more old school Tampa Bay creamsicle orange.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Right?
All right.
It's a gray top, then a creamsicle orange stripe on top.
Does that say Nokia? Was that made by the?
No, it is not made by Nokia, or else these shoes would be indestructible.
Okay.
They're made by a company called Hoka, I think. Yeah, Hoka. Never heard of it, but I did the research. I found out they're
wait. You do research on shoes before you purchase them?
These because I'm old, fat, and I have my knees are starting to go.
Do they have memory foam?
They do.
Okay.
These shoes are literally designed and fitted.
My new ones do not, and it's kind of bothering me because my other ones did. So
these shoes are designed I literally went and did a walking test where they measured my gait and the roll of my ankle and how much pressure I put where, and then they fitted these shoes.
Thanks for proving my point, feet. Luke. Hoka are high dollar. I have a pair.
They are high dollar.
Of course.
They are absolutely.
Proving my point.
Because they help me walk without hating myself at the end of the day because I'm fat, and I know that. I'm trying to be unfat now. I'm down 12 pounds, all right? I'm doing great. Leave me alone. Shut up. The point is, with these shoes, it was not about the style. These shoes don't even go with what I'm wearing right now, and as you can ask Lonzo, my glasses, my hat, and my shoes almost always match with whatever I'm wearing.
And probably other stuff that we don't want to know about.
100%. My boxers match too. Judge me. All right. They absolutely do. The one thing I got is I will pull an outfit together. But there came a point where I went, you know what? The comfort and the functionality are more important than the color of the shoe. That is where you venture into dad kick territory. That's why so many dad kicks are either all white or all black. Because then you can put them with anything and go, I don't need to worry about what I'm wearing. I know my white New Balances are going to match all of it.
If I felt the pressure, and if I truly felt the pressure and wasn't just playing with the pressure here, and went out and bought some Nike, some Jordans, Rob would say that's the most dad Jordans I've ever seen in my life.
There's no such thing as dad Jordans.
I bet there are. I've seen some pretty.
You can get a pair of all white Jordans. They are not dad kicks. They're white Jordans, right? Because here's the thing. Part of the concept of dad kicks is they're also not crazy expensive. Why? Because you know you're only wearing those sneaks. Those are your sneaks now, right? Lonzo, how many pairs of sneaks do you own right now?
Probably 5.
And how many are you going to wear more than one day a week? One pair. There's one pair you're going to wear more than once a week.
That's not true. It's not. I have my black and red ones that I wear on occasion, but they make a popping noise, which is why I went. The white ones will be used out in the yard more. I also have some Converse that I will wear if it matches the outfit, depending on what I'm wearing. So I have a couple pairs of dress shoes. I have 4 pairs of sandals.
I said sneakers.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't say shoes. I said sneakers. How many pair of sneakers do you own right now?
Okay. And plus my running shoes. So I have 5.
You have 5 pairs of sneakers. Yeah. How many of them are you going to wear publicly more than one day a week? At most 2.
Maybe 3. Depending on the week. Listen, I'm not fashion Rob. It's just going to depend on already thinking about what I'm going to wear Thursday when we're live at Twin Peaks for the NFL draft. Make sure you come out and check us out.
Football league draft.
So, I mean, what matches that shirt? Maybe I wear something outlandish to the point where people don't look up and they look down. I mean, thinking ahead here. That's what I do.
All right. Let's take a break from the dad shoes conversation. Because it is a sports talk radio show.
And we are talking about sports shoes. So I don't know why you got to make excuses here. The shoe game is a sport.
The shoe game.
How many people do you see out there? Oh, look what I just got. Yeah. And then you're mad about it because you're being competitive, which makes it a sport. The shoe game is a sport.
For the record, I ain't in the shoe game. I'm really not.
Because you think you already won. That's why he thinks he already won. So why there's no contest, so it's not really a sport.
Well, between you and me, yeah, I've already won.
See?
Right.
See, he's saying it's just between me and him, but he's also talking about the building. He's talking about the building. You're the one
who turned this into a competition. I was just trying to help you. And you're like, no, Rob's clearly after me. No, I'm trying to help. That's what I do. I'm a helper. Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. I'm a helper. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got a lot of things that we need to get into on the radio broadcast today. It is National Football League Draft Week. Finally. The Panthers are on the clock. But it is not the number 1 overall pick that I am concerned with. In fact, it is the number 2 pick that I'm concerned with. Why? Because C.J. Stroud is not only no longer the betting favorite to be picked number 2, he's not even the betting favorite to be the second quarterback off the board. We're going to talk about that coming up in a little while. DJ Uiagalelei has explained why he decided to leave Clemson. Does it reflect on the program? We'll talk about that. Dabo says no hurry to add a quarterback in the 24 class. Is that a problem? All of that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Juicy.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We will be right back.
contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort.
So I have multiple pairs of shoes because I just don't throw shoes away, because I feel like you pay enough for them in the first place. If you can use them in other spots, you should. So, you know. I wish I had the kind of income that some people have to collect shoes, but then where are you going to put them? Although admittedly, I do have a collection of Pops and anime statues and Nightwing statues. But, you know, so I guess I could find places to put shoes. They take up more spots. So Rob's going to be gone so long that I'm not going to get to show you the shoes. I'm sorry. You know, you'll have to wait till the next break. Poor teasing. No, James, it's not weird because if you need to get out the house, it's good to have an escape plan and have shoes ready because you don't want to run out in your bare feet.
Not where Lonzo lives.
Rob might be your neighbor. He might pass out if he sees those feet.
I don't care if you're outside in bare feet.
Steven's got 10 pairs of boots.
My dog ate my brown zip-up boots. My dog ate them. Furious.
I don't know if you can see them or not. Let's get the right angle. There we go.
I say that they are dad kicks, but on the upper echelon moving into non-dad kick.
Yeah, whatever that means. Okay. So it's as you get older, they get more acceptable.
No, it's not about age. And just like anything else, man, if you can pull it off. Who cares?
Look at how I dress. I really don't care.
It has been a moment since we have heard from former Clemson quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. DJ obviously is transferred up to Oregon State. We have now gotten our first look at DJ in a Beavs uni. DJ Uiagalelei was featured in a piece in The Athletic that dropped yesterday. DJ went into a little bit of detail about why it was that he left the Clemson Tiger program. The former five-star quarterback out of California said that the offense under former offensive coordinator Brandon Streeter was, quote, very basic, end quote, and wasn't going to help him show off his strengths as he prepared for a career in the National Football League. Before the coordinator change, Dabo Swinney experimented, obviously, with the shift from DJ Uiagalelei to Cade Klubnik in several games, including a road loss against Notre Dame. And DJ spoke specifically about that game, a game that the Clemson Tigers trailed at halftime, were struggling to move the ball in. Uiagalelei got the Tigers to around midfield on his second drive of the third quarter, but they never really made it any further when Swinney made the change. Asked about that, DJ said, quote, I don't think that my offensive coordinator knew that Swinney wanted to go with Klubnik. Swinney said, I just want to get a spark. I was bleeped off. Like, what do you mean a spark? We just had our best drive right there. I'm doing exactly what you're telling me to do, end quote. So I saw this piece drop on Sunday, and I saw a lot of people start to respond to it. And there were basically two groups of responses. The first was, hey, DJ, Part of the problem was that you were not good at football. The other group that responded to the comments of one DJ Uiagalelei were the people saying, see, this is what happens when you have a coach who thinks he's the smartest guy in the room and overthinks things, overcomplicates things, or in this case, undercomplicates things because he thinks his base is better than everybody else's best. And to me, it is yet another discussion where the truth is somewhere in the middle.
I don't understand the people who say he doesn't know how to play football. How many wins did he get, you guys? I'm guessing there are Clemson fans complaining about that. It wasn't like he came in and you guys only won 2 games because of him. And you could say, well, the rest of the team was better, and that's the only reason why we won despite of him. That's not true.
So here's the response I'll give to that. And I feel like I've given this one a few times. There are about 150 schools at the Division I level who would absolutely kill for a 10-2 season, who would absolutely kill for a conference championship, especially at a Power 5 level. But for Clemson, whether you agree or disagree with the sentiment is irrelevant. 10-2 and ACC champions is not good enough. That's not where that program has been, and it's not where that program wants to be. So,
but on average, that's where that program is still excelling by winning the ACC.
I don't disagree,
because there was a time when that was not happening.
But Jordan's Bulls were never going to be satisfied by winning a conference and never winning an NBA title, right? Once you become a team that is a consistent finalist, at some point, as we mentioned last week, that becomes the bar of acceptability. And nothing lower is acceptable. So while a lot of schools, hell, you think Florida State would be happy with 10-2 and an ACC title after the last handful of years? Yup. You think the Gators would be thrilled about 10-2? You think Maryland would be losing their minds to go 10-2 and win a conference championship? Hell yes. So I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. I do not think that DJ's comments are unfounded. When Brandon Streeter got hired to do the job, a lot of us asked questions about it. What is the experience this guy has that makes him the best option? What has this guy learned? Where has he learned it? How has he learned it? Do we know that he is going to be able to thrive in big moments? Or is this just Dabo hiring a Dabo guy because that's what Dabo does and he's smarter than you and you know it? And I don't think it is unfair to say that, yeah, I think there's a little truth to that. I think there is a little truth to the belief that Dabo thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. But here's the reality. When you reach the top of your profession, you kind of got to have that mentality a little bit, right? I don't compare myself and where I am to where Dabo is at Clemson. But I do think I'm in a pretty good spot. Of all of the people I know in this industry, I consider myself to be in one of the best jobs I know of. And so if you, as I tell every kid who comes through this building and every other building that I've worked in that wants to get to this point, when you get to this point, you kind of have to have an ego, right? You kind of have to. You kind of have to have an ego to convince yourself that I am good enough, smart enough, funny enough, charismatic enough, whatever the case might be, that people want to sit and listen to me just talk for 3 hours. Just talk. That's all we do is just talk. Does it mean I'm going to get everyone right? No. We have tried some segments on this show and others I've done in the past that have just bombed. The key is, did you learn from those things? Did you figure out what made them bomb? And vice versa, the ones that do work, do you figure out why they worked and move on and drop things that fall in line with the ones that don't work and do more of the things that do? Dabo's been a guy who's done Dabo guys in different positions in his regime for a while. And for a while it worked. And then it stopped working because football is an ever-evolving reality. Dabo learned. That's why Garrett Riley is the offensive coordinator. That is why when Dabo had a office full of guys that could have moved up. Or he could have said, hey, Brandon Streeter got 1 year. He's been in charge 1 season. Maybe we should give him a little bit of time to adjust, right? In fact, Dabo could have done what DJ just did and pegged it on DJ Uiagalelei. Hey, unfortunately, DJ just did not turn out to be the guy that we thought he was going to be. But he didn't. He figured out, as I think all of us did, that Brandon Streeter just wasn't ready for the job. That's not to say he never will be, but he just wasn't ready for that job, right? There was a point in my career where you would better believe I was trying to get myself nationally syndicated, and I'm very glad I didn't at the time. You know why? Because I wasn't ready for the job. I would not have been prepared for that, and I would have likely failed, and it would have derailed me. So I kept grinding, kept figuring it out. Here we are. Maybe I'm getting there. Who knows? And if I'm not, fine, whatever. But I've put in the work. Brandon Streeter had not put in that work as of yet, at least on the outside looking in. But Dabo learned his lesson. He made the move to Garrett Riley, and that is a sign of a guy evolving, learning, getting better, and making better decisions, or at least different decisions. But at the same time, I don't want to put this not on DJ Uiagalelei. DJ was a very acceptable college quarterback. There's a lot of schools that would have loved to crack at DJ. But let's call it what it is for Clemson. There have been a parade of exceptionally talented quarterbacks that have come through that school. And so Clemson fans' expectations have become, we expect to have a great QB. We expect to have the guy. And DJ wasn't it. There were plenty of opportunities for DJ Uiagalelei to do just a little bit more. And he didn't. He did enough to get them repeatedly to 10-2. He did enough to win ACC titles. He did enough. But he never excelled. And he had plenty of time to excel. And he had time to excel in a program that we are aware has had multiple quarterbacks excel within it. And he did not. And that is effectively the fundamental problem of what went wrong with DJ Uiagalelei. The point that I'm making here is this. You're going to get two groups of people. You're going to get the people who are going to light DJ up. Dude, you sucked. You were bad. This is all on you. Clemson is unbridled greatness and you brought us down. And then you're going to get the flip side of that coin. You're going to hear people who are going to say, what a reflection on the program, right? It just shows you that Dabo's lost control, or that Dabo is, not smart enough to make the right call at the right time with the right guys to get it done. He's losing it a little bit. Football's passing him by a little bit. You're going to hear all of these conversations take place. And all of them have some truth to them, but none of them are the right answer. Clemson is not in a free fall. Dabo hasn't lost it. It's not that he doesn't know what he's doing. He had to learn a lesson. And unfortunately, that lesson came at the expense of not making it to a college football national championship semifinal. But very clearly, the lesson got learned. One of the most difficult things to do in life, not sports, life as a whole, is to acknowledge that you were wrong, admit that you were wrong, and grow from it. Dabo made the wrong call with Brandon Streeter. And he made the wrong call with Brandon Streeter because he was trying to stick with the Clemson guys, Dabo's guys format, and it bit him in the butt. It happens. But he has since then put it together, figured it out, went out, got the most highly coveted offensive coordinator candidate in all of college football to come be the OC, and rectify that problem. On the flip side, not a lot of humility here out of DJ Uiagalelei. Now, am I super worried about it? No. Oregon State isn't going to get a ton of run on this show or on this station. But for DJ to basically say, yeah, it was the offense coordinator. I'm great. It was Brandon Streeter's fault. DJ, we saw you play, my guy.
So yeah. Yeah, we saw you play. You did really good.
He did okay.
Okay is winning 6 games. Dude was a really good quarterback. Was he a great quarterback? No, he's a really good quarterback. He's had to deal with comparisons for the greatness that came before him. You talked to him. Did he see? You talked to him a couple years in a row at ACC Media Days. Does he seem like the type of guy that's going to come out and throw someone under the bus from your brief interaction? From your brief interaction, if it's not warranted.
Here's what I said.
Everyone said Brandon Streeter was bad. He's just saying what they said.
And for the record, he's not wrong.
Yeah, but you just kind of you just said he made it about him. It was about him. He was put in a situation with a bad offensive coordinator calling a vanilla offense, and he was able to excel with that vanilla offense. That makes him better than what people think. So if that offense was as bad as everyone said it was, then how were they able to win as many games as they did? Because he was able to rise above the mediocre and excel to the point to get some wins when everyone was coming at that guy.
It is important to me when anybody has a conversation with anybody else. Empathy is wildly important. The ability to put yourself in their shoes. That doesn't mean you have to agree, but try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It'll give you a better opportunity to understand why they feel and believe what they feel and believe.
I have been in those shoes before, put in situations where I should not have been there and had to help out doing things that other people were responsible for, and I stepped up. That's what you got to do.
Let's talk about the situation at hand. You're an Ohio State fan. You have told me repeatedly Ryan Day will be on the hot seat.
Right.
For not beating Michigan.
Right.
Do you understand that for 94, I don't know how big the Ohio State fan base is, but 94% of college football fans, that's dumb. That's dumb.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. It's dumb.
But for Ohio State fans,
but it is what it is.
Right. You have justified that. So the flip side is this. Clemson expecting to be in a semifinal every year.
No, they should expect that. They've been there more than they haven't since that.
If they expect that and it's okay for them to expect it, then 10-2 is bad.
think you're missing what my point is. My point is all the blame was being put on the quarterback when it could have been put elsewhere. And the quarterback pointing out that he was in a position that everyone knew he was in. Why is that his fault? Should he have just said, I did my best there, but now we're moving on and we're here now. We're going to do our best here. And just let the old program go. Don't you want the meat? Don't you want to know why he left? It isn't because he was a bad quarterback. He left because he was put in a situation where he couldn't excel. And one thing that Cade gets to do, he's not in that situation.
No, the problem I have here is for him to say the only reason he did not excel is Brandon Streeter. I don't agree with. DJ Uiagalelei is an above average quarterback, but not above that. I'd give him above average, and that's about it. So for him to play it off like, well, if it wasn't for Brandon Streeter, I'm a first-round NFL draft pick. Dude, no, you're not. No, you're not. I watched you miss plenty.
So far. We'll see what he does in this new offense. So if he goes out and he tears it up where he's at now, will he change your mind?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Are you going to give him the opportunity to do so? All right. All right.
For the record, I like DJ. As you pointed out, DJ's been on this show at both ACC media days I've attended so far. He was a phenomenal interview in both of them. But it seemed like, and I know we got to go to a break here, you took a little umbrage a minute ago when I said I'd like some humility out of DJ. Keep in mind, and I pointed this out.
This comes back to, I believe, your disdain for his dad.
Is part of it.
Yeah, and so I think you're projecting that on him.
No, I'm not.
He gave us something to talk about, by the way, again, meat for us to talk about. But the other thing he did is he said what everyone else was saying. Everyone was saying that about Streeter.
To say no one else is saying Brandon Streeter was the only problem last year. He wasn't. DJ saying that. I'm not. Brandon Streeter was not the only problem.
He was the only problem. He was the only problem for him.
Right. I'm saying I'm sure he believes this, but he's not right. He's not right. A little humility would go a long way. And keep in mind, this is the cat that rolled up into ACC media days in I'm assuming, as a not super knowledgeable suit guy, but a suit that's probably about 5 paychecks of mine to put together, and a giant diamond necklace that said Big Cinco on it.
Well, you can't be anti all that because you're so pro NIL. And he got some Dr. Pepper money. Remember that? Dr. Pepper money, nice money, I'm guessing.
I'm sure it's great money.
I think it's that kind of money that you can roll up looking like that.
All I'm saying is,
should he have been showed humility and not bought the sweet stuff because he didn't want to project himself as being a cocky quarterback? Because most quarterbacks are jerks. It's just how it is.
First off, that's a sweeping generalization that I disagree with.
Well, you will never convince me otherwise. You will never convince me otherwise.
That's fine. You're an offensive lineman. Your
Thank
job
you.
is to hate quarterback.
At least you got it.
So here's where I'll leave it. This was not entirely on Brandon Streeter, though Brandon Streeter was a major part of the problem. DJ Uiagalelei was not great. He's okay. And a little humility would probably go a long way for him. What I am ultimately saying here is that over the next few days, when you inevitably hear show hosts go, this is it. DJ's pointing out, Dabo's lost it. He ain't the guy anymore. He can't run his program anymore. Just know that that's just incendiary to throw fire at the program and get attention for it. Take a break, come back, wrap up hour number 1. My name is Rob Brown. That's the great one, Lonzo, and you are listening to the sturdiest show in the upstate. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. The only issue I take with what DJ said is that despite the awful offensive scheme, he missed easy throws consistently. He seemed to have issues with ball placement and accuracy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like part of this, whether he likes it or not, is on him, right? Give me 25 seconds. Be right back, guys.
Kawhi Leonard out for the Clippers. He's got a sprained right knee. Game 4 Saturday in LA. Fan Upstate is your home for firm and talented sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Hello, I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. I'm so proud that we've helped over 15,000 businesses claim over $5 billion in cash incentives. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. Every client is assigned a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates
This hashtag this 30 boys.
to accurately determine eligibility.
Love that.
Refunds has hundreds of 5-star.
Yeah, listen, his numbers might be better. I'm not disagreeing with that at all, right? But like at the same time, it doesn't matter if you're playing SEC DBs or Pac-12 DBs or Mid-American Conference DBs or anything else. If you can't hit the guy in the stride when he's open, it is what it is. Bow, 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 bow. So glad you're back, Bubba. I am. Been telling people about the benefits of eating dried grapes, raising awareness.
Hey, you got us both to laugh.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
Would that be considered a dad joke?
I like this.
Is that a dad joke? I need people
Yes,
to point out what a dad,
absolutely.
because I still don't understand what a dad joke is.
Absolutely it is.
What makes that a dad joke? So if a comedian says that on stage, is it still a dad joke?
Yes. There are comedians who what's his name? Gaffigan.
Yeah, I know.
Gaffigan is a king of the dad jokes. So a dad joke, somebody made a theory about dad jokes, and I really like it. Dad joke is traditionally a joke that once you hear it, it's like, oh, I should have known that. And obviously it's got to be clean and humor. And someone once asked the question, like, why are dad jokes? Like, how do people fall into being dad jokes? And the answer is, once you become a dad, you can't make the same jokes in front of your kids that you would make in front of your friends at the bar. So the only things left to say at that point are clean things, are things that are simple to understand, easy to comprehend, and clean. Dad jokes. Dad jokes are traditionally the only type of jokes that are available when you're in front of children. Unless you just don't care.
There are some people out there who just don't care.
Yeah. Now, there are other jokes called uncle jokes. Uncle jokes.
What have I done? Why did I ask that question?
Joey B said, I was hospitalized due to a PICU accident. Now I'm in the ICU. That's a great dad joke.
Apparently, I think dad jokes are funny because I'm laughing. So
Why did the farmer quit farming and become a musician? He had some sick beats. See, these are great dad jokes. You can tell them in front of a kid. A kid can get it. We all laugh and move on. Then there's uncle jokes, which are the same format, but dirty. Like, who's the most popular person in a nudist colony? The guy who can carry 2 cups of coffee and a dozen donuts. Think about it. That's an uncle joke. Wrapping up hour number 1 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you. Join us on the live stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate. Search the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. We were having a conversation about the origins, the concepts, and the build of dad jokes during the break. It's not all sports stuff, y'all. Texter says, Rob, let's see. Hang on. Let me get to both of them because he sent 2. He said, Rob, the New Balance 997s are fire. And I looked them up. They are. New Balance 997s are what I would say kind of teeter-tot right there from dad kicks just into stylish kicks, right? It's a good look. Texter says, I have a pair of $185 New Balance 990s. I'm 23. Again, you are not required to be a dad for your kicks to be dad kicks. It's
but
vibe.
you spend a lot of money on it, so that puts you okay with Rob, because I still maintain that it has to do with how much money you spent for your shoes.
You're just wrong, and I've told you that. But you're just going to keep saying it, aren't you? You're just going to keep saying it when I've said on the same segment.
I will say it as long as my history is poor and yours is 1%.
You know, you grow up on a golf course one time. Texas said, Rob, it's because classic kicks are coming back in this generation. Here,
is that like bell
the
bottoms?
problem I have with statements like that is that I am now of the age where the children are beginning to discover the things that were cool when I was already an adult, right? Like you guys are starting to bring back trends.
Way back in 2000, you mean?
That were trends when I was already good. Not like trends from my childhood. You have retro trends that were trends when my gen made them trends. Like when Lonzo saw kids wearing bell bottoms for the first time, he's like, no, that's my thing. I did that.
No, I'm like, man, you guys are stupid. You made that same mistake.
Big bell bottom guy over there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a break. Come back. Hour number 2. Got a lot more to get into. NFL draft talk when we come back, as we are 4 days away. Tell you all about the live remote we got lined up for you Thursday as well on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Just want to clarify, I never bought bell bottoms. I was a kid then, and they were forced on me. Probably not literally. I put them on because my mom told me to, but still.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation based.
Yeah, me bringing something back will not make it cool. And I don't own a leisure suit. And Jesse, Dabo is like, he's like upper management. He surrounds himself with the guys who do the real work, and he gets all the glory for it. But that goes with the position. He's never been known as that X's and O's guy. There's nothing wrong with being that kind of guy either if you're effective and win championships, which he's been able to do.
a month. Advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security, free for 12 months. And a special mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G, free for 12 months. That's Spectrum One. Visit Spectrum.com or your local Spectrum store today. Offer subject to change. Valid for qualified residential customers only. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Golfers, the best upstate deal on golf is back and on sale now. The 2023 Upstate Golf Card gets you around.
So I did a story Saturday on the Pulse about in I believe it was Austria, a nude beach, because you said nude beach earlier. A nude beach is upset because there's going to be a high-speed tram going across the beach.
Going across.
So it's in the air. It's going to be going across where the beach is, and people are complaining they don't want the people on the train to be able to see them while they're nude on the beach.
Okay.
And so the guys who are designing the train say that the windows will automatically go opaque when they go across the beach.
Oh, I mean, that seems like a hell of a lot of work. But I'm sure it's appreciated.
If you're willing to bear all on the beach, what do you care if a train goes by? They're going to take pictures and it's going to be on the internet. Yeah, probably. Although trains move by pretty quick. I'm thinking just a regular phone pic is probably not going to capture things. Exactly. That was my point, Luke. I just didn't get the argument. And the person they talked to, I think she was like 62 years old or something like that.
So I would go with this. And I'm very evidently not a nudist.
We don't know.
No, you do. I'm telling you.
You're from Florida. Don't they have nude beaches down there?
Not where I'm from.
I know they have one here in South Carolina. I forget where it is.
It's kind of one of those things of like, I don't care if other nudists see me nude, but I don't need the rest of the world seeing it.
I thought it was a funny article because it just died. You know?
I do love the amount of work that I appreciate genuinely the amount of work that company would be willing to put into protect.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think they're just, so what we'll do is we'll make the windows go opaque when we go across. You're good. We're good.
That.
So what, the windows are just going to tint at that point? I mean, yeah, I get opaque. Should be, yeah, but still, it's. Nothing but flash photography going off as the train goes over and suddenly slows down for no reason.
Welp. Saturday from noon to 4 is a little show we like to call Bet for the Cycle. It is hosted by former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker. It is hosted by yours truly. And it is hosted by a young man who I absolutely adore as a person and despise as a coworker now. That, of course, would be our good friend Hating Ass Mario. For those of you that have never gotten the opportunity to check out Bet for the Cycle, go ahead and throw it on your calendar right now. It airs on Saturdays from noon to 4 on the BetQL network. It streams live on Twitch. It streams live on YouTube. All you have to do is search BetQL and then open that channel up from noon to 4 on Saturdays. On that show, we play every week a game called Parlay v Parlay. We pick the first game of whatever Saturday it is we're broadcasting, and there is a competition between two parties. Ordinarily, it is myself and Cody, the talent, taking on the production crew. We build a 3-leg parlay. They build a 3-leg parlay. If both parlays miss, no winner. If both parlays hit, then the parlay that had the longer odds to be successful is the winner. Obviously, if one hits and the other doesn't, the one that hits wins. And there is a punishment attached to these. For instance, last year, Hayton asked Mario lost a parlay and had to dress up as Dylan Lee's The Crow to do the entire 4-hour show. Brandon Lee, sorry. He then doubled down on that, lost a second bet, and then had to go to the nicest steakhouse in Indianapolis, where he was living at the time, dressed as Brandon Lee's The Crow. So this man had to go to a very nice steakhouse with the black and white The Crow face paint and a trench coat on, and go sit down and have dinner like it was totally normal. He wasn't allowed to tell people he lost the bet. He couldn't explain it. He just had to do it. Now, it backfired a little bit because the staff kind of figured out that something was happening, and they hooked him up with free dessert and free drinks throughout the night. But still, we like to make each other suffer a little bit. Well, courtesy of One the Great One, the very first bet punishment this year on Bet for the Cycle was that the loser of the opening parlay versus parlay competition would have to scarf down an entire scoop of ranch-flavored ice cream during a segment on the show. You still got to host the segment like normal. You just got to down a scoop of ranch ice cream while you do it. I regret to inform you that the loser of the opening parlay v parlay competition this week was me and Cody Decker. So this Saturday, at around probably 1:45 in the afternoon, Cody and I will both be knocking back a hearty scoopful of ranch-flavored ice cream live on the air. Now, we put this out on the social media, and the majority of people who responded were depressingly happy about what I'm about to go through this Saturday. A handful of others were people in Lonzo's camp who said, I tried this for a variety of reasons. Some morbid curiosity. Some, like myself, the loser of bets. Others, host of wildly popular pop culture talk shows on local radio stations who just decided to run a taste test on it.
And love to see. I'm willing to suffer as long as everyone else does. And we did.
So, Lonzo, at 1:45-ish this Saturday on Bet for the Cycle, live on the BetQL network, streaming on Twitch and YouTube, when Rob Brown and Cody Decker open up that carton of ranch-flavored ice cream, get us a hearty scoop out, place it in a bowl, and then must consume the entire scoop in a segment. Can you give me a bit of mental preparation for what that experience is going to be like?
First of all, let me tell you, if you can't find it at your local grocer, I can tell you.
I have to know where it is because the Wally World by my house does not have it.
The one in Simpsonville still did.
Okay.
They had a bunch of them. And there's always the one that's downstairs that I'm sure is still in the freezer. That's was only opened like a month ago. Ice cream keeps. You know what you could do?
No.
And here's my suggestion. That we go down and we get the said ice cream, we bring it up here, and we just open up the lid so you can get used to the smell. Because when you open it up fresh, and you have to open it up, you need to open it up fresh before you get the scoop out, because the smell is overwhelming. And the first taste, you're going to be like, say nothing, and it's that second one that's going to get you.
So that is,
then later on that night, it's going to get you, and then the next day, it's still going to get you. And then you might actually think, I will never eat ranch again.
So let me tell you what I did. On Saturday, after the show came to its conclusion, and the lady friend walked in and said, hey, what do we want to do for dinner? I said wings. And I said wings, and we got wings. There's a local eatery not terribly far from us that I like my wings from. We got wings, and when I went to pick up the wings, I said, hey, can I get like 4 or 5 extra ranch dressings? And the young lady working was like, yep, no problem. And she threw them in the bag, and I got home. And I spent that evening, along with the fiance, watching the most recent episode of Ted Lasso, which is a good one if you haven't seen it yet, but eating wings. And Lonzo, I'm a twist dipper, right? I take the wing, I just take one side of it, just a little light twist in the ranch. I want to be able to taste the chicken in the sauce with just a little help from the ranch. But on Saturday, I was taking the wings and just hammer dippering them into the big thing of ranch, coating them thoroughly, and basically turning them into ranch-covered meat sticks for the sake of consuming as much ranch as possible per wing to begin to adjust myself for the punishment that I have to go through on Saturday.
It's not the same. It's not. I wish that I could describe to you exactly what it is, but you'll know when you experience it, but it's not the same. It's closer to chip dip than it is to ranch dressing. You know, the chip dip that you get in a grocery store to dip your chips. It's got a hint of onion to it, and it's got, I don't know how it's made exactly, but it's ranch and with a little bit more in it. That's the kind of taste you get. Have you ever ate too much chip dip and went, I shouldn't have ate that last one? Because you start getting that taste in the back of your throat, and it's like, you get that after the second bite of this ice cream. It is worse than people think it is.
So
I'm taking pleasure in this, and also I'm concerned because it's I hope it hits hard enough for a show as big as that, but also I hope it really hits hard to prove that I was right about it. And not just me, but everyone in the room who tried it. And you've smelled it. So you know how strong that was after being in the freezer for a couple of weeks and being open. That's nothing compared to when you first pulled that little plastic off the top of that.
When Lonzo told me a couple of weeks ago that there was a little bit of leftover ranch flavored ice cream down in the freezer downstairs, we went downstairs. Not for me to try it because I was saving it knowing that this might become the reality, just to smell it. And when I opened the tub of ranch flavored ice cream, when I opened the tub of ranch flavored ice cream and just took a whiff, I can tell you with the utmost sincerity that I gagged wholesale.
Yeah, there's video evidence. We filmed a video when we did it.
Yeah. And listen, I have been accused of acting to get reactions on the radio for entertainment's sake. And let me tell you, there are times that I exaggerate for the sake of a bit. Normally it's comedy's sake. I'm just trying to be funny. I nearly yacked on the floor from the smell alone. And this is from a guy who likes ranch. I like ranch.
I love ranch.
Yeah, I'm a ranch guy. I was blown away by this, and I already dread Saturday. Because not only do I now have to, and I like Simpsonville. It's where we go see the movies. Got a lot of nice little restaurants and shops out that way. But now I have to drive to Simpsonville. I have to spend my own money to buy a tub of ice cream, of which a single scoop will be consumed. Because I've got a sneaky suspicion I'm not going to knock back a scoop of ranch-flavored ice cream and then go back for more.
I tell you what, there's a chance between now and then that I might possibly be in said store. And if so, I will send you a text, which you won't answer, but you never know. Might get lucky, and I could pick it up for you so you wouldn't have to make that grueling 10-minute drive that way.
Oh, from
That's-
my house, Simpsonville's like 40 minutes.
Well, if you leave from here one day,
True.
and then you take it home and put it in, I'm just saying.
Listen, this is going to suck. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it's not. All right. It's going to suck. I'm not excited. This is going to go very poorly. Very, very poorly. All right. Bet for the Cycle on Saturdays. Now, before we get anywhere else, because we are about to talk some National Football League draft this Thursday. Speaking of wings and ranch, boy, howdy, do we have great news for you. Coming up on Thursday, the Rob Brown Show will have its first live remote of the 2023 year. We will be live this Thursday, 9 to noon at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road in Greenville. Now, the doors at Twin Peaks will open at 11 a.m. You are welcome to throw a collaborative Armada tailgate from 9 to 11 and then come in at 11. But at 11, the doors will open. I will be there. Lonzo will be there. And from 11 to 12, we'll be finishing up the Rob Brown Show live and in living color. Then at noon, the Rob Brown Show will come to its always stellar conclusion. And when it does, ladies and gentlemen, Lonzo and I are going to hang for a little while. We'll talk sports with you guys. We'll talk life with you guys. We'll talk pop culture with you guys, whatever you want to talk about. Come hang out with me and Zoe, and at least two of the cast and crew of the Rise Guys will be there 12 to 3. Why? Because the Rise Guys P1 Lager will be on draft being served at the perfect 29 degrees. You can come by. I'll have a beer with you. Zoe will have a Diet Coke with you. We'll eat some wings and some billionaire bacon burgers. And we'll talk football before Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel. Goes live at 3 p.m. They'll take you from 3 all the way up to the start of the draft at 7 o'clock that evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be stellar. This Thursday, we are live from 9 to noon. Doors open at 11 at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road in Greenville, talking draft with you. Make your plans now. Come on by. Have lunch with us. Have a brewski with us. We'd love to see you.
Just a little pro tip though. If you see us talking with the headsets on, we're live on the air. So don't come. Hey. You probably could do that, but that would be bad. Don't do that. So I mean,
it is inevitable that every time we go on remote, somebody watches us talking with headsets on.
Although
and then tries to start a conversation with us.
Although Chris Evans down the hall, because this kind of stuff happens to me all the time, or used to when they let me out, had a piece of glass made with on air written across it, and you plug it in and it actually lights up, and it lights up blue. It's really cool.
I just want to hold up a sign that just says blinking on air. All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, speaking of the National Football League draft, what do you say we talk a little National Football League draft? Because it's not the Carolina Panthers at number 1. That conversation is finito. It is done. It is over. Bryce Young will be the first selection to the National Football League draft. And if you weren't sure about that, let me tell you when we come back why I now know that's a fact. I'll hit you with it when we come back. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fan Upstate. Now I want sour cream chips. Dang it.
So another topic that I think you would have liked on the Upstate Pulse, Eddie Van Halen's guitar that he played in on Hot for Teacher was auctioned off for $3 million or 3.5 or something like that. And so had everybody name their top 5 guitarists of all time.
Ooh.
Yeah. And
Ooh.
sometimes music goes really well and it did. Yeah, I mean, it hit for the entire hour. I didn't think it would, but it did. Or I was hoping it would. Matthew.
I like that.
Matthew doesn't exactly. He's not really a music guy,
Right?
so his mom was giving him. So I would go to him. Okay, what's your mom have for number 3? It was great. I mean, I didn't think.
What does your mom have?
I didn't think
for
she keeps
number
sending them to her.
3?
She did. It was good.
That's
It really was good.
incredible.
It was good.
Hey, Matthew, what's your mom think? Be right back, guys. Executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate. He, ladies and gentlemen, is a gentleman you've heard before. He is Michael Pius, joining us here on the show. Mike, what's up, big fella? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, man, of course. Want to first and foremost issue the very public apology because Mike Pius on Friday had to suffer through watching Rob Brown play 18. I am so sorry, Michael, but I appreciate your patience and grace in that scenario.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was great to be out at Carolina Country Club. It's a great spot, and we got to have a little clinic before we teed it up with our Viking early college group of young men that we mentor through our first tee programming. We're really excited about that program, and yeah, we had a great time. I thought you were striping it there at the end. 18 was a little bit of a struggle, though.
I put 4 in the water on 18 because I decided to tin cup it there at the end. I'm like, all right, I'm getting on it too. I did not get on it too. It just did not happen. But other than that, real good day out at the links. And before we get into the reason we're bringing you on, which is the first tee of the Upstate's annual Kentucky Derby party, which is going to be happening Cinco de Mayo weekend. We'll come to that in a minute. You guys, the reason you were out there at Carolina Country Club is one of the reasons that I love First Tee. It's these clinics that you put on for the kids to teach them golf. But as we've talked about in the past, Mike, you're teaching them golf, but you're not really teaching them golf. You're teaching them life lessons through the game of golf, which I think is invaluable, frankly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, this partnership with Spartanburg High School and their group called Viking Early College, a group of young boys that get selected to go through this 4-year program where they finish up their sophomore year and they have their diploma, and then they actually finish their last 2 years at Spartanburg Community College and get an associate's degree. It's a pretty cool program. And we started partnering with them last year and offering this kind of physical education component to it where they come out to Carolina Country Club. We're very blessed to have a great partnership there. Carolina has a great staff there, and they have a great owner that gets our mission about, building the strength of character that carries on for the rest of their lives for these kids that we impact through our program, kids and teens. So it's a very unique program, and we're blessed to have that. And then we're actually kicking off a caddy program. We've been working on this for about a year now, and some of the kids will be selected as caddies. So we're trying to bring caddies back to the game, which is great. And then there's some college scholarship funds that are available to the kids as they progress through the program. So really great things going on with that partnership. And then all across the upstate, from Gaffney all the way down into Seneca and Greenwood now. I mean, we've really expanded since last time I talked to you, back in January when we were talking about our golf trip raffle. We kicked off programming in Greenwood down in 96 at the Star Fort, at the Fort Club. And we're excited about the expansion of our program. We're trying to hire 2 new staff members. We got this big fundraiser coming up in less than 2 weeks. There's a lot going on.
Michael Pius, Executive Director of the First Tee of the Upstate, one of my favorite organizations. I've had the chance to work with them down in Florida and now here in the upstate of South Carolina. And we are talking about the Kentucky Derby party coming up, Michael. I unfortunately missed it last year. I will not this year. Very much looking forward to it. Talk to me a little bit about this party, because it's I've been to a lot of Derby parties. For a lot of people, it's just, hey, let's sit on the back porch, drink some mojitos, and watch the race, which, yes, I'm all in for, but there's a lot of opportunity to do a lot of good at this party as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so it is Saturday, May 6th. So the Derby is always the first Saturday in May. General admission is from 5 to 7:30. We also have a VIP ticket that gets you in an hour early, and a really exclusive VIP experience. We've got a signature bourbon tasting hosted by Maker's Mark, with the pairings from Robin's Just Desserts, which are really cool. Little desserts that we're pairing with the bourbon. We're also going to have some wine there for those that aren't bourbon drinkers. And also we're going to do this really interactive screen printing station, which is going to be pretty cool. The VIP ticket also gets top shelf liquor selections at a VIP bar. You also get a $25 Uber credit, so you don't have to worry about drinking too many mint juleps while you're there. And then we've got a great silent auction. We'll have a live auction. And then, of course, we're going to watch the most exciting 2 minutes in sports on a massive screen at BMW Zentrum. So we're going to be hosting it this year at BMW Zentrum. We haven't hosted it there since 2019. It was a huge success back then. Gets kind of both communities, Spartanburg and Greenville, together because it's right in the middle. And so, like I said, we got the VIP experience. It's $150 per ticket. If you got a couple couples to join you, you can buy 5 tickets and get 1 free. You can also do that with the general admission ticket, which gets you in, all the full bar, the signature cocktail with mint juleps. That gets you a $15 Uber credit. And then we've got Rick Irwin's coming in and doing all the hors d'oeuvres. So, it's going to be great food, great atmosphere. And, let's just have a blast all Saturday afternoon.
Michael Pius is the executive director of the First Tee of the Upstate, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. For the folks that are interested, Mike, how can they get in touch? How can they pick up some tickets? How can they make sure that they are there, my man?
Yeah, so it's firstteeupstate.org/derby. That'll bring you right to our Derby page. You can take a look at all the different ticketing options. We also have a designated driver ticket option. This is the first year we're doing that for $50. That gets you all the food and mocktails that you want and everything else. So, that's an option too. And even if you can't be there, it's a busy weekend. There's a lot of weddings, there's college graduations, all kinds of stuff. You can also register your phone so that you can bid on auction items from anywhere. A couple of years ago, we actually had one of our supporters who's on business in Japan. He was sitting in the airport at whatever time it was, 3 a.m., and he was bidding on auction items from there. So we got a lot of different really cool packages. Mother's Day is the following weekend. So this is a great opportunity to get some good Mother's Day gifts from our silent auction. So you can get on there. You can actually start bidding now on some items that are up there, and we're adding new items pretty much every day. So again, it's firstteeupstate.org/derby. And then if you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews that you want to get involved in our program, you can go to firstteeupstate.org and click on register my child, and you can take a look at all of our summer offerings. We've got a lot of summer offerings, and we've actually going to be adding a few more classes here in the next week. So exciting time to be a part of our chapter, to really teach, again, the life skills that are going to carry on and allow them to be good golfers, but even better people. So, it's a great time to be involved in our chapter as a volunteer, a donor, and even participate in our program.
It is an awesome, awesome organization. That is going to be a tremendous event. I know I'll be there. So will the who's who of the Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. You should want to be there as well. Make sure you check out their website. Again, it is firstteeupstate.com. And if you're fortunate, maybe Mike will take you out for a game of golf. I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, I asked Michael Pius if he could give me some pointers on the back nine last week, and he pointed me to the car and told me to leave. It was just that bad.
No, come on. We're getting you turning those hips through. It's all in the hips.
It's all in the hips.
There. It's all in the hips.
I love it.
I mean, you just got to get turning through instead of bumping it out to the left, and you'll be good. We're going to get you all straightened out.
A boy can dream. He really can. Michael Pius, Executive Director, First Tee of the Upstate. Again, the 8th annual Kentucky Derby viewing party and silent auction is coming up. It is obviously the day of the Kentucky Derby, May 6th from 5 till 7:30. Hors d'oeuvres from Rick Owens. There will be an open bar, a silent auction, and, of course, theater seating for the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. Mike, you are the best, man. Thank you as always, big dog.
Thanks, Rob.
You got it. That is Michael Pius, Executive Director, First Tee of the Upstate. Again, check them out at firstteeupstate.org, firstteeupstate.org. Love that organization. Love the work they do, and going to love that event without a doubt. Let's take a break. All right, draft talk time. When we come back here in just a minute, let's get some NFL draft discussion in because we're 4 days away. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. The Carolina Panthers on the clock. Bryce Young is the number 1 overall pick. And I'm going to prove it to you when we come back. I am Rob. He's a great one. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You're listening to The Fan Upstate. You good there, buddy? Your old leg decided to give out on you? Aha.
But it's because I'm walking different.
As the series shifts back to Raleigh tomorrow night for Game 5, the Canes can close things out. Last night, Sebastian Aho had a goal and 2 assists.
If you'd like to be a part of the radio broadcast, now's your opportunity. 844-326-3663. That is the number to get you on the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line. 844-326-3663. You can text us. The text line is open as well at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN. FAM will read them on the air. Let's get to a little NFL draft. So, ladies and gentlemen, last week, you and me and just about everybody else learned about the S2 cognition test. The S2 test is both a mental and physical aptitude test. It is a test of how fast you take in information, process that information, execute a response to that information, and how fast you are able to do all those things while limiting distractions, ignoring distractions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we learned about some of the grade outs from quarterbacks that are in this draft. We learned that Bryce Young tested out at a 98%, or excuse me, in the 98th percentile. That means that he tested better than 98% of the quarterbacks who took this class or took this test. We learned that Will Levis tested around 95% in the S2 cognition test. That means he processed the information, executed a response to the information in the face of adversity better than 95-ish% of the quarterbacks who took this test. Now, again, you do kind of have to take it with a salt shaker, right? Not the grain, the whole shaker. Because there's all sorts of variables and conditions that could come into play for the results of this. But then there was a score that threw a lot of people off. Bryce Young, 98%. Jake Haener out of Fresno State, 96%. Will Levis, 93%. Jaron Hall out of BYU, 93%. Clayton Tune out of Houston, 84%. Anthony Richardson, 79%. He outscored 79% of the quarterbacks who took this test. CJ Stroud, 18%. He was in the 18th percentile. That means he outscored only 17% of the quarterbacks who took this take. One executive at the NFL level who was interviewed by USA Today said of CJ Stroud's test score, quote, "That is like red alert, red alert. You can't take a guy like that. That is why I have Stroud as a bust." That, in conjunction with the fact, name one Ohio State quarterback that's ever done it in the league, end quote. So CJ Stroud didn't perform poorly on the test. He flat out bombed it. Now, I might be able to, as mentioned, take that with the shaker of salt, write it off, say no big deal, and not pay attention to it. Except for we're starting to see the numbers move around a little bit. As of yesterday, and I have not checked these numbers today, I probably should have, but what the hell? Let's live and let live, people. Bryce Young saw his odds get even better from the end of last week. Remember, at the end of last week, I was telling you Bryce Young was sitting at around minus 1,500 to be the number one overall pick. Bryce Young is now at minus 2,000. Remember last week I was telling you that CJ Stroud was sitting at about plus 650 to be the number one overall pick. Now that number is about plus 1,000. But here's where it gets very interesting. Where it gets very interesting is the odds to be the number 2 overall pick. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can sprinkle a little coin on who goes number 2 overall. Number 2 overall, Jalen Carter, the Georgia defensive lineman's plus 6,000. Anthony Richardson is plus 2,800. Bryce Young sits at plus 2,000. Will Anderson at plus 430. That's actually my pick right there. I'm going to put a little change on plus 430 for Will Anderson. Tyree Wilson is at plus 300. Will Levis is at minus 130. Where does CJ Stroud's number check in? Plus 500. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is that you can also bet on who makes the number 2 pick, right? As of right now, that pick is held by the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are not committed to making a selection as the number 2 pick. They have been, according to multiple reports, openly shopping the number 2 pick. And there are, according to reports, at least a few teams that are actively engaged with conversations with the Houston Texans to acquire the number 2 pick. Now, who acquires that number 2 pick? I don't know. Is it a team looking for a quarterback? I don't know. What I do know is that I think you're less likely to see it now. We know at 3, the Arizona Cardinals sit. They are likely not going quarterback. They are locked in, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent with Kyler Murray for the time being. Indy at 4 likely is going quarterback at this point. Would they jump all the way up to number 2 to get one? Probably not. Especially because there doesn't seem to be a huge chunk of teams willing to make waves to get to number 2. And if they don't, I think the Texans are perfectly content to draft a player, a non-quarterback player at number 2. Which means that if that is the decision Houston makes, and we know Arizona at 3 isn't going quarterback, and there may not be a lot of movement, although somebody may want to jump in front of Indy, there's not a lot of movement, knowing that there are going to be 3 top 4 quarterbacks on the board at number 4. We may not see another quarterback come off the board until number 4. But the fact that the assumption right now is teams are looking at QB at number 2 if the deal is good enough to get. And the fact that Will Levis has not just surpassed CJ Stroud as the odds-on favorite to be the number 2 overall pick, but in fact has soared past CJ Stroud to be the odds-on favorite for the number 2 pick. He is minus 130. CJ is plus 500. That is a gulf of difference in this. Tells me there is no chance that's what you got, that CJ Stroud goes to number 1 overall. As far as I am concerned, it's not just, as I pointed out when Bryce Young overtook CJ Stroud for the number 1 overall odds. It's not just that Bryce Young is the favorite now. It's how much of a favorite he is and how rapidly he became the favorite. This is the same scenario. The S2 Cognizance test results got leaked at the very end of last week, like Friday afternoon. And within a few hours, Will Levis didn't just pass CJ Stroud as the number 2 betting favorite, but he rocketed past him all the way to being a minus money favorite. When there is a pick for which multiple entities could be the correct response, typically they're all plus money. If you go look at March Madness, there were 6 teams this year that got the majority of the bracketologist excited about them being a natty champ. If you went and bet March Madness favorites, there were 6 teams you could have you could have bet on and got plus money. When there are multiple entities that are realistic winners, they're usually all plus money because you want to distribute that money between all 6 so that the majority of the bets taken in are losers. I absolutely believe that Will Levis is a number 2 contender. Will Anderson is a number 2 contender. Jalen Carter is a number 2 contender. CJ Stroud is a number 2 contender. Anthony Richardson is a number 10. You might as well just throw like 3 of those up right now, Alonzo. Anthony Richardson's a number 2 contender. The fact that Will Levis has skyrocketed to negative money, to a minus money favorite, tells me CJ Stroud is out of the running to be the number 1 overall pick. Book it.
I don't recall in recent memory, which memory is failing in some aspects, the sheer pleasure that it seems to be across the board on quite a few of the TV shows and radio shows at the demise, the dropping of CJ Stroud. This is weird. I mean, and yeah, I have bias. I want him to do well because of where he played and because I think he's a really good quarterback. You know, coming into draft season, it was neck and neck, and he was number 1 for a while on most people's boards, and then suddenly he started dropping. This just seems like gamesmanship. I'm not going to change my mind on this. This is someone dropping some knowledge because they want him to drop to where they can draft him. And my money still is on Indianapolis. If he drops, he goes to Indy. And we'll find out later that maybe, you know, someone from there kind of leaked that there was a problem with his test scores. Because last I checked, he still did pretty well on the field in adverse situations, and if there hadn't been a horrible kick, might have won the national championship this last year. And suddenly it's like, well, he did poorly on his test, and people are acting like that means he can't play. And it's just weird that everyone is forgetting that he still played. Yeah, but he had superior talent. So you still got to do something with that talent. It's just there's pleasure. I'm not accusing Rob of taking pleasure in it, although jabbing me has to give him some, because I deserve it. But still, I absolutely deserve it. I'm not going to act like I don't, and we'll deserve it in the future. But still, you don't think that this is? Have you seen anyone drop like this before? And it has nothing to do with his play on the field.
So,
and he didn't do anything wrong. He's not in the news for being arrested or anything like that. This is all because of this test that we just heard of this year.
So a couple of things. I'll start with this. About a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, I said on the air and got a visible reaction from you that there is going to be discussion about the talent CJ Stroud had around him and if CJ got carried by the talent as much as anything else. Now, you don't have to like that is a reality, but scouts are taking into consideration.
I think you started that. I think by you saying that, other people picked up on it. And
it is definitely not something that's been happening in NFL scouting circles for all the years.
Parrots out there, they're listening to this show. They heard you say it, and they're like, oh, we could use that. And then they used it.
Good with me. I like being an influencer. Second off, and that discussion is going to keep going. Second, just because this is the first year for us as fans that the S2 cognition test has really been pushed into the limelight, this test has apparently been going on for a minute. And I'll be real with you, I find it to some degree actually shocking that this test has been going on for at least a couple of years now, and it's not really been eaten up. But remember when we found out about the Wonderlic test, right? The Wonderlic test was the same scenario. It had been in play for a couple of years, and then 1 year it just turned up, and we all started talking about it. This test much more thorough because it is a test that you undertake while playing football, or at least while running drills and stuff. The fact that CJ Stroud didn't just not compete with Bryce Young. He got beat by the overwhelming majority of draftable quarterbacks who took this test. 17th percentile. That's bad. That's real bad. This is not me taking enjoyment. I really don't. I don't take enjoyment and discomfort from Lonzo, with a few exceptions. I certainly don't take enjoyment in this kid who 2 months ago thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and now there are folks putting out thoughts that he might fall outside of the top 10, that he may not want to show up to Kansas City because he might be pulling one of those Brady Quinn, you're in the green room until the second round type deals. And nobody wants to see that. But at the end of the day, scouts, general managers, coaches, they got to care more about winning than the feelings of a dude. And CJ failed to prepare himself for that test, which is a bad look for his draftability. 1 hour left. Your thoughts are welcome. The Rob Brown Show's on the Fan Upstate.
In-depth sports analysis and discussion every weekday at 6 on the DA Show. Only on the Fan Upstate.
There's going to be a lot of defensive picks available late, without a doubt.
You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
He wasn't the only one going after him for that, Trey.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick. The type of guys who will always.
This is one of those things that if Stroud is mediocre to bust, they can say, see, we were right. And if he comes out and he kills it, no one will have to apologize, and no one will.
Devices. Adaptive AI-based software creates a personalized user experience and boosts collaboration so they can stay cool and collected. Temperature up. I'm staying out of this. Dell Client Solutions make adaptive performance possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Client.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C. 3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is logging his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates apply.
Yeah, me too.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing.
say you're coming to my camp and you don't come to my camp, I'll make you pay. Blame the forehead. Everything's not about you.
Blame the Mannings. The Mannings aren't involved.
Yeah, they are. This all comes back to Manning camp, and that's when then the S2 scores drop, and then all this stuff. It's a coordinated effort by someone, and it's Indy. Indy is doing it.
You might not be wrong. I'm not dismissing that as a possibility.
Your business might be entitled to receive up to $26,000 per employee. Businesses of all types can qualify, including medical, professional, construction, even nonprofits. Please don't miss out on this. Even your doctor.
So I'm not going to name the brand on the air, but I bought some chewy chocolate chip granola bars to satiate my hunger so I don't eat as much when I get off the air. And they come with these little plastic packs on them with a clear window to see the granola bar. And all the granola bar chocolate chunks are on the top where the clear package is. And almost all the time, this one's not as bad as some of the rest. But I have gotten some where there's like 6 or 7 chocolate chips under the clear window, and then the bottom half of the bar has none. That's intentional, right? They know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
They know what they're doing.
It's intentional, and you got. Plus, the chocolate chips on the granola bar are just like some extra. It's the granola itself that's supposed to be the thing that sells you.
Yeah, I know.
G or A or M on their shirt. TCU is the example. If TCU did not have access to the transfer portal, they would not be playing for a college football national championship.
It is petty for sure, James, but I still think he's going to Indy. If he doesn't go one. I'm not giving up on the one thing until Thursday night at about, 8 something. Even after they announce it, I'll wait and hope they trade or something. Gable's in first break.
Okay, thank you.
Look at that. We're already at hour 3.
I know.
How'd that happen?
Time flies when you're making excellent radio. I'll suffer the dumbest injury I've had in a while this past Friday, Lonzo.
The way you were just looking, I thought it might have happened just now.
No.
So, you're still suffering from it.
Played a little golf on Friday. We talked with Michael Pius of the first tee of the Upstate earlier.
Played poorly, apparently, on the 18th.
Worst 18 I've played in a while. And it's like the 18 I show up. Michael Pius is a great golfer, like a really good golfer. And so of the 18 I've played recently, I played an 18, I guess about 2 weeks ago with some of the fellas from the Triumph Supporters Club and shot a genuine 86. That is the best round I've had in a while. And I felt really good about myself coming off that round. So when Mike invited me, I'm like, yeah, just do that again, right? I'm fine with shooting in the 80s. I'll look all right if I get in the 80s. I was not in the 80s. It was a bad day. Well, on number, 7, I think, it's par 3, I hit a 6 iron off the tee. That was a heat seeker at the pin. Skipped over the hole, missed a hole in one by maybe 4 or 5 inches. and it rolled. But I'm cup high, right? Which means I'm putting back down towards the cup, real shallow slope. No problem. Get the birdie and go home. And what did I do? Missed the birdie putt. Ran it by the cup by about 1.5 feet.
You didn't get that friendly. Oh yeah, you got it. Just pick it up.
I
That
was
that
too far
thing.
out.
Okay. All right.
Too far out. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Rob Brown getting a par, exceptional work. Just take the par, write it down as the 3 and move on. And then I missed the putt going back uphill too. So I ended up 1 over bogey despite the fact that I was like 14 inches from the cup off my tee shot.
All right. At that point, you're hurting us as a show and the station overall.
It was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad. And I acknowledge it was bad. It was bad. So when I play golf, I do this mental thing. It's like the old, like my coach, Bobby Moore used to tell DBs when they gave up a big play. Short memory, right? Like Ted Lasso says, you know what the happiest animal on planet Earth is? A goldfish. You know why? 8-second memory. Something bad happens, 8 seconds later, they've forgotten about it. Be a goldfish. So I tell myself, Rob, be a goldfish. Think about that iron shot. It was a stroke. Drop that thing. Could not have hit it better if you tried. But as Lonzo can attest, many of my hats have been victims at bowling alleys of being thrown into ball returners off a bad shot. So to get the anger out, I just got to do something. And I went, Zoe, to slam my putter back into the bag. And as I did, I slammed the head of the putter and the golf bag itself. I slammed the edge of my right finger between it. And I'm like 89% certain I broke the bone in the tip of the finger. And it has just served as a constant reminder to calm TF down.
Yeah, that anger is not gonna help you. It usually leads to unnecessary pain.
Like opening a can. It's outright painful at this point. Unbelievable.
You do have other fingers though. I mean, so you're
but that's
your
my beer opening finger.
Is that it? Oh no.
Yeah, it's my beer opening finger. All right, let's get a couple of stories in here real quick as we roll on into the final hour of the radio show. It is the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Do want to remind you, as we talk a lot of NFL draft this week, it is NFL draft week. Thursday, ya boys are going to be live and in living color out at Twin Peaks on Woodruff Road in the Ville. So if you've not gotten to get out lately, you want to come out, have some wings, have some beer if you're not working, or if you are, we won't tell your boss. We don't care. Coming by Twin Peaks. The show will be on 9 to noon like always. Doors open at 11. You can come on by, grab yourself some chicken wings, grab yourself a brewski. 29 degrees on draft, the perfect temperature, including the Rise Guys P1 Lager, which will be on draft at Twin Peaks. And you can give Lonzo a hand hug in person. He's happy to do it.
Just don't do it while I'm eating. I mean,
Fair enough.
Although while I am eating, feel free to just pull up a chair and watch.
Yeah,
because man, I love that.
Nothing he loves more.
That's just awesome. I can't guarantee that a piece of food might not fly your way. So
Gross.
Yeah, I mean,
Gross but honest. I appreciate that. Twin Peaks this Thursday, Woodruff Road in Greenville. We will be there live from 9 to noon. Doors open at 11. Come and hang out with me and Zoe. Tactical cough button getting the workout today, Zoe.
Yeah, because I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
Temperature change. It went back cooler again. Yeah, that's what it is.
You know what we did yesterday? We did yard work yesterday.
I also spent quite a bit of time outside yesterday.
Me and the fiance did like 4.5 hours of yard work yesterday. And at the last chore was to blow off the driveway and the sidewalk and all that.
So you did some weed eating. I could have used you. I miss my weed eater.
I did some,
but he moved
weed
out down the road.
Yeah.
So now I have to do it myself.
Did the weed eating on the driveway, the walkway, and both the front of the house, the entire outside of the house, and all the gardens, because it's time for garden. Like this next weekend, this upcoming weekend, we're gonna get I'm gonna get my pepper bed back down. She's getting her fruit and veggie garden down.
How was the pepper crop last year?
Phenomenal.
Was it? Okay.
Killed
all
the
right.
pepper game last year. So I'm doing it again this year. Already got the ghost pepper plant to be planted. All right. Pepper game was strong last year. Your boy, turns out, got a bit of a green thumb. Did not know that. So we're getting all that ready. I hit the edge of the driveway with a blower, and it was just a blizzard of yellow pollen. I could literally, Lonzo, feel the pollen on my teeth. It was awful.
Yeah, I definitely understand
It's
that.
killing me right now. All right, let's get some sports in here because y'all don't care. Let's start with this. There's an old saying that those who do not learn from history are what, Lonzo?
Doomed to repeat it.
Doomed to repeat it. That is correct. I would like to take you back just a handful of years. Let's go back 21 years. Let's go back to the 2002 National Football League draft.
Man, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time. That draft can legally drink now. That's how long ago it's been. The number 1 overall pick that year was held by the Houston Texans. The number 2 overall pick that year was held by your Carolina Panthers. Now, there was a big discussion going on because on one hand, you had a quarterback who was considered to be the most cerebral of the class. He was thought to be incredibly mentally efficient. He was thought to be physically gifted, though a bit undersized. He was thought to be a guy who was going to outthink every defense he would come across in the National Football League. Also on the board was a fantastic hybrid edge rusher. The Houston Texans, with the number 1 overall pick, said getting the franchise quarterback is the right way to do it. And they passed on a guy who was considered to be potentially the best pass rusher the NFL draft had seen in some time. The Houston Texans, with that number 1 overall selection, took David Carr. The Carolina Panthers, with the number 2 overall selection, picked Julius Peppers. Now, I don't think you have to be a hardcore student of the NFL's history to answer the following question. I think it's relatively obvious, but let's ask it anyway, just to make sure I'm not being biased. Lonzo, if I was to ask you, which of the two had the more illustrious career, the more successful career, would you answer that it was former Houston Texans quarterback David Carr, not Derek Carr, who is going into the Hall of Fame after this season? Or would you argue that it was Carolina Panther pass rusher Julius Peppers?
David Carr, by the way, the number 1 quarterback in the NFC South until Thursday.
That's Derek Carr.
So Derek.
You can tell the difference because Derek Carr is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah,
David was not.
Derek. They both start with a D.
Derek might be the best quarterback in the National
They
Football
both start
League.
with a D, and then the Carr thing. I'm going to go with Julius Peppers here. I seem to remember him being quite good, whereas whichever Carr that was not.
Very good, as a matter of fact.
But is a decent coach, from what I understand.
Good enough, by the way, that CBS Sports decided to go back and rank the biggest draft blunders in recent history. They point out the 2020 draft where the Philadelphia Eagles were on the clock at number 21, and they selected Jalen Reagor out of TCU, who got drafted next, Justin bleeping Jefferson. In 2007.
Wait, who is Jalen Reagor?
Exactly. In 2007, Calvin Johnson was right there on the board when the Oakland Raiders decided to go for Jamarcus Russell. I'd say one of those guys was more successful. The Eagles back in 2003 traded up 15 spots where they drafted defensive end Jerome McDougal. They passed on a young man by the name of Troy Polamalu. In 2007, Adam Carricker was selected, and then the Jets took Darrelle Revis. Famously has an island named after him, as a matter of fact. In 2000, Peter Warrick got drafted. I'm not mad about this one. Peter Warrick was an absolute stud. But he got drafted over the Dirty Bird himself, Jamal Lewis. 2004, Robert Gallery went over Larry Fitzgerald. 2005, Fabian Washington was selected over Aaron Rodgers. Also in that draft, Mike Williams over DeMarcus Ware. In 2002, Napoleon Harris over Ed Reed. In 2011, Jake Locker over Tyron Smith. In 2013, Datone Jones over DeAndre Hopkins. 2017, John Ross got selected over Patrick Mahomes in that one. Cincinnati could have had Patrick Mahomes. Oh, how different our lives would have been.
I don't think that's as much. I mean, hindsight, yeah. But at the time, who had heard of Patrick Mahomes before?
These are not necessarily drafts that busts that we knew at the time were going to be bust. Just what they turned out to be. David Carr went 23 and 53 as a starter, completed 60% of his passes, averaged 176.2 passing yards per game. Not exactly number one overall pick numbers, but of course Carr was at Houston, who was also bad back then too. Julius Peppers, on the other hand, went on to have 9 Pro Bowls over his career, was named to the all-decade team for both the 2000s and 2010s, and holds the NFL record for most forced fumbles of all time. Here is my question. Twofold. Numero uno. Is there any concern to you, Panthers fans, that you might be getting yourself into a David Carr, Julius Peppers situation? Because Will Anderson is sitting right there. Will Anderson is a freak of nature. In fact, if you asked me, and you'll get my mock draft on Wednesday. If you asked me,
got like the first 8 done by now?
No, I'm at 14 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm at 14. I'm almost halfway done.
Overachiever.
If you asked me right now to tell you what player do I believe will have the most successful career of the top 10 players in this draft, the answer for me is Will Anderson. The guy is fast. He is physical. He is relentless. He's a freak of nature. And he's wildly intelligent. He gets it. He understands it. He sees it. Any concern that the Panthers might be passing up on a Julius Peppers to take a David Carr when they draft Bryce Young? That's question number 1. And question number 2, if the Cats do go with Bryce Young as number 1, it took the Houston Texans a very long time to recover from the misstep of drafting David Carr. Are you concerned about how long of a road to recovery the Panthers might face if they get this pick wrong? I have said time and time again, the Cats do not have a choice but to get this one right. Is Bryce getting it right? A. And B, if not, what is, if there is, a road to recovery for Carolina if BY ain't the guy? Those are the questions I'd like your answers from. You can hit us up on the GilstrapFamilyDealerships.com phone line at 844-326-3663, or you can text us on the text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with Fan FM. We'll read them on the air. Let's take a break. When we come back, got about 4 stories we're going to pew, 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 rapid fire through. Pew, 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 pew. Then we call it a day.
My guns sound have a little more bass to them.
I don't know why I did that.
I don't know either.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Gables.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
scene. It's fresh and unique.
Yeah, I know. The video ran out, so I made sure that I unmuted us. Someone who will remain nameless has reversed how the mouse works. So I have to. So
What?
this is why I'm struggling. I can't make. So you would think I should be able to go this way
Yeah.
to get to that, but I can't. I got to go that way.
Okay, we can flip that back.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it, and I don't want to hear the whining. So, but it's caused me some problems. I can't. So when you see me struggling, it's because the mouse is going the wrong way and it gets lost. I lose the cursor somewhere and I can't. It's probably something really simple. I just don't want to have to get engineering down here to show me how to do it. I thought I could adjust, but I'm still struggling with it because it doesn't make sense.
All right, let's run through a handful of stories before we call it a day here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Robin Lonzo with you on a beautiful upstate Monday morning. Draymond Green made his return for the Golden State Warriors in game number 4, and the Sacramento Kings did not handle it well. The team that jumped up 2-0 at home now finds themselves sitting tied at 2-2, heading back to Sacramento for game number 5. Draymond Green came off the bench in game number 4. It was apparently his choice to allow Kevon Looney to get the start because Looney played really well in game number 3. A guy was asked earlier, how do you feel about all of the physical contact? Like, do you feel like it's too physical underneath? And he goes, I'm a big man. That's what we do. We battle, right? We get physical down there. I love that. But having Draymond back on the floor opened things up. Of course, it wouldn't be Draymond if he didn't get a technical foul for slapping a dude in the face within the first 3 minutes of his return. But again, welcome to sports. He's only a jerk if he doesn't play for your team. Speaking of jerks, Dylan Brooks is a member of the Memphis Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks and his Grizzlies are taking on the Angels, the City of Angels, Los Angeles Lakers. Dylan Brooks, in the most recent chapter of that saga, was ejected for a flagrant 2 foul. You want to guess what he did, Lonzo?
Oh, I know what he did, which is why I just crossed it off of Twitter. Yeah,
well, good thing. We'll just talk about it here
because I saw it. First of all, he did all this talk about LeBron being old.
Yup.
And then he decided to do what he saw the Beard do the other day, and just punch in the midsection.
Yep.
But it was pretty blatant.
Yep.
It's
just gave Braun the old 1-2 in the 1-2s. Little pop to the boys. Braun, as he was trying to bring the ball up the floor, as most of us would, don't dare to try to tell me that you wouldn't, immediately crumpled to the ground, because that, ladies and gentlemen, and I can report this with 100% accuracy, friggin' hurts.
All right, so it is a punk move. Without a doubt, it's a punk move, especially when you know all eyes are on you, but you're also saying, I'm scared of you. And yeah, he got ejected, but he didn't get suspended, so he'll be back. Does he do something like that again? This is a guy who's known as a dirty player. I was watching some stuff on him earlier, and they're saying he gets this rap because he can't really shoot. I'm thinking of another guy back in the day who used to do the same thing, one Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
And all he was known for was,
especially if you were a photographer.
Yeah, well, that was an on-point kick, rather.
Speaking of, Dylan Brooks left that game with 7 points on 3 of 13 shooting. Not a great night for old DB.
But you can make it in the NBA, which is why I brought up Dennis Rodman not being a shooter. If you're a good defender, maybe a decent passer, and if you're there to be a goon.
Dylan Brooks is a guy who absolutely has a reputation, so to speak. Here's my favorite part of this story. After he was bounced from the game for giving Braun the old love tap to the gonads, and Braun crumpled to the floor because, again, I don't care how tough you are, that's debilitating. And Dylan Brooks got the old thumb out the building. He talked to ESPN's Tim McMahon. He was asked about the reputation. And he said, Lonzo, the media's making me a villain. The fans are making me a villain. That just creates another persona on me. End quote.
If you're going to be the heel, man. I mean, embrace the heel. Embrace the booze. Enjoy the pop you get when you come out in LA, when they see that you're back from being tossed the night before or however many. It seems like it's just like three nights between games for the Lakers for some reason. Maybe so they could rest. Could be. But embrace the heel. You've been painted into a bad guy. That's kind of your reputation. Do it. Be that guy.
Some of the best heels in the game don't believe they're heels. They think they're doing the right thing, right? That's part of what makes us hate a good heel. Some of the great heels absolutely know what they are.
Yeah,
don't care.
Not everybody's an MJF.
Right. Some of the best heels in the game don't actually believe they're heels. This is dumb because here's the thing. You know, if you go out there and you play hard, you play tough, you play physical, you scrap a little bit, you walk out of that game with war wounds, you make sure the guys on the other side walk out with war wounds as well. You're just playing hard-nosed physical basketball. That's one thing. I'm pretty sure when you get bounced for slapping a dude in the dudes, you don't get to then come out and go, I'm just tired of everybody portraying me as a bad guy. You hit another man in the junk, dude. Now, I looked at the James Harden thing when he got bounced for the exact same thing, except he was on offense. And I went, you know what? I can reasonably understand how that was an accidental result of a basketball move. James Harden trying to clear space off the defender to his left, went to throw his left hand out. Unfortunately, due to the positioning of the defensive player, there just happened to be the old twig and berries in the way. Happens. This one, nah, not so much. Like, I know Dylan Brooks just got crossed up by LeBron, like countless other NBA players. But on defense, you don't swing a closed fist back, around, down, and up in order to reverse court positioning, right? The hips go first, the shoulders follow. No, dude, no. And considering you had spent the week chirping at Braun for being an old man and starting some, pardon the pun, junk with LeBron, dude, you are the villain. You are the bad guy. In a series that, for the record, I am pulling for your team because I'm a big Ja Morant guy. I like Memphis. I think they're a good basketball team. I think they're a very core-based basketball team, which I love. Even with Ja, this team can play a well-rounded basketball game. I love that. Dude, you make it hard to do so. You make it difficult to love your team because you are. But now, that's not bad for the league. But Dylan Brooks was the league leader for regular season techs. He had 18 techs across the season. He was suspended for an on-court altercation with Donovan Mitchell a while back. You know what he did to spark the fight with Donovan Mitchell, Lonzo? He hit him in the groin.
Wait, so he's a repeat offender
Yes.
when it comes to that area of the body.
Yes. This is also the cat some of you remember that got fined $35K for shoving a photographer after a game. DB, my guy, you get portrayed as the villain because you're the villain, my man. Like, sometimes you just got to wear it, guy. Speaking of oopsies, Steph Curry almost had himself a big one. The Warriors won a 1-point game over the Sacramento Kings last night at the Chase Center. It was a good one. Late in the game, Steph Curry has the rock. He's dribbling up the right side of the floor, and he calls a timeout before he gets into the double team, which is fine, except there was a problem. The Golden State Warriors didn't have any timeouts left when Steph Curry called the timeout. I knew that. You know who else knew that? Steve Kerr, who was seen crouching down on the sideline, hands up against his head, screaming, "We don't have one!" What ended up happening? Sacramento was given a technical, well, Steph Curry was issued a technical foul. Sacramento got to go to the line. They scored 4 points in the final 42 seconds of Game 4, courtesy of a De'Aaron Fox three-pointer with 28 seconds left to go. Golden State almost lost that basketball game because Steph Curry decided to pull a Chris Webber and call a TO when they are O of TOs. Whoops. Steph, come on, man. You got to know better. All right, last story before we wrap it up and take it to Twitter trending topics. As Michael Scott once said, Lonzo, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Brown is done talking about the Atlanta Braves. Done. About 2 weeks ago, I came on these airwaves and I said, guys, the Braves are pretty good. At the time, they had dropped only one of their first, I believe, 7. It was on the road up in D.C. against the Nats. They took 2 out of 3. The very next series, they played a 4-gamer against St. Louis. They swept that one as well. I came on the show and said, guys, the Bravos are legitimate. Then the Braves went and took 1 out of a 4-gamer from the Padres, and they looked bad in the process. So I came back on the radio that next Monday, and I said, guys, I'm done talking about the Braves. I'm bad luck. I can't do it. Not talking about the Bravos anymore. After that, Lonzo, the Braves went on an 8-game winning streak. Back to 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 back. And on Friday, you may or may not remember, I ended the show by talking about a baseball series I was very excited about. A 3-game homestand where the Houston Astros were coming to town. And the Stros out of the American League and the Braves out of the National League could potentially be a World Series preview. So I ended the show talking a little bit about that series. I ended the show on Friday talking about how I think the Braves take 2 out of 3 from Houston at home because you got to defend this house, click, clack. I thought this was going to be good. Instead, the Braves opened the series by giving up a 4-run lead in the final 2 innings on Friday. On Saturday, they gave up a 3-run lead. And yesterday, I didn't watch the game because I thought maybe it's me. And what did the Braves do when Rob Brown didn't watch? They lost again and got swept by the Astros in a 3-gamer in their own house. Now, there's a lot going on with Atlanta. Max Fried played game number 2 since his return from injury. There are liabilities everywhere because the Bravos have a pretty deep roster of guys who are on the pine right now, banged up, injured. It has not been good. It has not been good. They dropped 3 in a row. They end up falling to the Astros 5-2 on Sunday. There's a lot of liabilities in the engine. The good news here, if there is any, the good news here is that the Giants took 2 out of 3 from the Metropolitans. So the lead in the NL East remains relatively solid, a little bit diminished from where it was. But as it stands right now, the Braves are sitting on a half-game lead over the Mets. The problem is the Braves are 14-8. They were 14-5 going into this series. They were tied for the National League best record. Now they are behind both the Pirates and the Brewers, and the Mets, courtesy of that loss to the G-Men, find themselves only a half game back. The Marlins are only 2 games back. The Phillies are 3.5 games back, but keep in mind, the Phillies don't have Bryce Harper. He is expected to be back in the next week or 2, and that lineup gets its pop back. They're going to be on the way too. Those series, like the ones Atlanta just had at home, you can't go 0 for 3 at home. You just can't do it. This division needs to be in control when the All-Star break rolls around. With the amount of money that they spend, I don't think you can trust the Mets not to LOL Mets themselves out of the division like they did last year. The Phillies are getting Bryce Harper back. It resets their rotation. Now, the Braves just need to hang on. They're going to be getting some guys back. Their rotation's going to be out there. And I've heard there's rumors that the Braves are interested in potentially signing Madison Bumgarner to a to a veteran minimum contract to see if he can maybe get his mojo back and add another arm to the rotation. Suffice to say, the Bravos got to get healthy because these types of things, this is how you lose the division. And because there are 3 good teams, the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies in this division, and a Marlins team that has a phenomenal pitching rotation led by Cy Young candidate Sandy Alcantara, the reality is there's probably at most 1 wild card out of this division unless they just beat the hell out of each other. And another surprise 100-win team pops up somewhere else, and then there won't be. It's going to be very interesting. To cycle back to all of this, ladies and gentlemen, let me just say this. Lonzo, I will not be talking about the Atlanta Braves on this radio broadcast anymore because twice this year, I decided to believe they were good. Twice this year, I decided to believe they figured it out. The first time I did it, they got it handed to them by the Padres, who, by the way, have stunk since then. And the second time I did it, they got swept by the Astros. I don't think that I have some sort of cosmic universal power to influence the outcome of games, but I can't definitively say I don't, so I'm not going to attempt it.
How many games left in the season?
Like a 160.
Wow, that's so you're saying this sample size is enough for you to realize that your mojo directed at them can cause them to lose early on like this. I think you need to experiment a little bit more and keep talking to see if this happens like maybe 50, 60 games in. Then we'll know for sure it's real.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate it, but I'm good. Let's take a break because I don't want to talk about this anymore because it makes me sad. When we come back, we wrap up the show. We might have 1 or 2 more. We might not. We might get straight to Twitter trending topics. I don't know. Lonzo's in charge. I just do whatever he wants. He's a great one. I'm Rob Brown. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show. You are listening, ladies and gentlemen, to The Fan Upstate. Yes.
All right. I'd like to apologize to the stream because at the beginning at some point I thought I could keep track of pin drops,
No.
but I cannot.
You'll run out of ink.
I can't. I suffered with some back spasms for a couple times during the show, so turning back and forth as many times as I have to do, although I might stretch out the back a little bit. But the last segment alone, while I talked about the Braves, is probably like 8-9 times that it dropped, and I just can't. I can't.
I went to the gym on Thursday, and they have a machine, though, that you sit in a chair and you hold these two little bars, and then there's a seat, and it's like this, and you hold the bars, and you use your core to twist the chair, and then the weight spin you back.
Yeah.
And you lift against the weight. And I did that because I'm like, all right, this is a really good golf exercise, right? Like your power comes from driving off the hips and through your core. Great golf exercise. So I did this. And then when I got done with my 3, I do 3 sets of 12 on everything. When I got done with my 3, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do one more. I'm going to shred this core, bro. So I need to get to where I'm driving 300. So I flipped and I did the other way, 3 of 12. And I got done. I felt great. I felt strong. I felt powerful. I had the eye of the tiger. Then I woke up on Saturday, 2 days after the workout, and decided that I was going to sleep on my back because rolling over hurts so bad.
I think I'm having back spasms because of new shoes, but I mean that's part of it. You do reach an age where breaking in new shoes can be painful all over the place, and the leg acting up is adding to it too. Oh, this isn't like spasms; it's like lightning.
How do you get from Sweden to Russia?
I don't know.
You cross the finish line. It's a great
There
day.
you go. As long as you get the reference of fins, I suppose.
Us fiends.
And keep your lawn looking fresh with savings on the Ego 15-inch string trimmer. It was $219, now it's $199. Shop SpringFest.
So I don't know if you noticed this trend. I don't know if you guys have noticed it. Anybody bought furniture lately? And here's why I'm asking. Almost all of the couches that you can buy now, Alonzo, have on one side where like the last seat would be, they have like a full
chase
recliner.
Yeah, the chase.
It's like part of the couch now. It's not like an ottoman. It's like there's just one big piece that goes all the way down. And I kind of love it.
Yeah,
I kind of love it.
It's a chaise lounger.
Who's the 1%?
We often have chaises in our abodes. I've had like 3 or 4 of those. That's actually what I have in my game room. We had a sectional.
Yeah.
That was part of the sectional. But Lisa wanted to move things into the den where the fireplace was, and the sectional wouldn't fit in there. So the old living room, which is now my game room, I just left the chaise in there.
I kind of want one.
They can be comfortable. The better ones, though, are ones that have a higher back to them, because then you don't have to worry about how to get comfortable with your neck if you're sitting up to watch or play something.
Josh said, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? How, Skrilla? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? All right. All right.
I would say that's pretty accurate, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, he works here. Good job. I don't have my glasses on. It looks like there might be something after that, and I don't see it, but that's okay. We ain't got beef, man. I'm actually a Gamecock fan. Why would we have beef?
Wrapping up the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate final segment, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked a little bit of Atlanta Bravos. We've talked a little bit of Clemson Tigers earlier in the show. So we're abundantly clear. DJ's comments from Oregon State have squat all to do. He's not wrong. There was a problem. The good news is Dabo has fixed that problem.
All right. Again, has he? Can you prove that? You can absolutely prove that without a shadow of a doubt. Right now, it's been fixed because you can't until they actually get out on the field.
I mean, I can say that he fixed the problem, that he didn't just cycle up one of his dudes. He went out and actually got an established, credible, respected, and highly sought-after guy to fill that job instead of going,
all right.
I used to coach this guy, so he's good.
Well, maybe in the end, it's not about bringing people up. It's about choices, period. So maybe he's been making bad choices because he's been making bad choices. We'll find out.
Is what it is. All right, real quick, wanted to get this in the 45 seconds before Twitter trending topics. The NFLPA filed a grievance against the Carolina Panthers, saying their playing surface was too hard. What was the response from the National Football League as players continue to push and point out that scientific evidence that says that playing on turf is better than playing on sod is better than playing on AstroTurf? The NFL said, there's really not a simple solution to this. No, but there is though. Just put grass in the stadiums, and the stadiums that are domed, put the newer AstroTurf instead of just laying a thin line down on concrete. It doesn't seem like it's that difficult. I think what you meant to say, NFL, was there's not a cheap solution to this.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, before I get to Twitter Trending Topics, as someone who's played on both surfaces, yes, grass is much better.
Yes!
It's just, I mean, I think we could take a poll, and I don't think you're going to find anyone who goes, yeah, man, I'd rather play on turf.
I
don't think you're going to do that.
I don't think I need like years and years of government funding to find out that falling on dirt and grass is softer than falling on concrete.
All right, since you stole the majority of my Twitter Trending Topics, like right at the end, I mean, like 5 minutes before the last break, because I just had to cross things off. The first thing that is trending is Jedi Survivor.
So the new game is, do we have a release date on it?
Yes, it's 28th.
20 of this month?
Yes.
Oh, well, don't call me that last weekend.
It's several days away.
Like 4 days from now.
Yes.
I got to tell you, Zoe, I made the realization the other day that I have, I didn't finish the last one.
Yeah, you might want to do that before you start playing the next one. Possibly.
I do. I need to, I'm going to have to jump back in.
Got pretty good ending, by the way.
It's the first game in a long time that I'm not going to lie. I got to a point where I just set it on easy mode because I was more concerned with let me get through this story than I got to beat the game. Like, I want to know what happened.
Yeah, I'm not going to be that guy. I know some guys only play things on the hardest level, and then they side-eye you if you don't. If the story's good, you want to see how the story plays out. All right, the next thing is trending is Conor McGregor.
Oh, God. Did he punch another old guy?
He did have, I didn't hear the sound, but the reason why it was trending is not really a confrontation, but he had a conversation with Floyd Mayweather Sr. In the end, they were shaking hands and everything. And so we got that to look forward to in the future.
Couldn't think of a room I'd want to be in less.
Well, he would have beat Junior. Why not fight Senior too?
Couldn't think of a room I would rather be in less than listen to those two egomaniacs talk about how they're both the greatest.
I could think of a room, Thursday night pizza night at the Paul House. Rob, you're invited.
Yeah.
You bring the drinks. All right. The next thing that's trending is Shawn Michaels.
I don't know if this is the reason. I've seen two things about Shawn Michaels. The first is people giving grades for booking of different wrestling companies the last couple of weeks. And somebody said, how do we feel about Shawn Michaels' booking of NXT? Which I got to tell you, Alonzo, the last 3 weeks has been pretty good, to be honest with you. But somebody posted, people were ranking rivalries, like greatest rivalries of different wrestlers. So they would say like greatest rivalries with Undertaker, and people would build their list. And somebody said the greatest rivalry of Shawn Michaels is computers, and then posted videos from his entire career. Because every time Shawn Michaels has ever interacted with a computer, he does the old man one key at a time type and like squints down to the. Even in his prime, he was doing this. And now every now and then on NXT, they show Shawn and Gorilla, and he's always like trying to figure out how to type.
He also has an eye that does that thing now. So, I mean, I think people are being mean. When you get that eye that does that thing, it's probably a little bit harder to type. Although if you learn how to type in school, you don't really look at the keys, but you know, it's not his fault. All right. The last thing is trending is CJ Stroud.
Yeah, CJ Stroud is trending because CJ Stroud is going to probably fall, I think, outside of at least the top five. At least the top five. I'm at the point now where I am relatively convinced that Indy's going to take Anthony Richardson at 4. So right now, because I now get to redo my entire mock draft, Bryce Young 1, Will Anderson 2, Jalen Carter 3, Anthony Richardson 4, CJ Stroud 5. That's going to be my pick.
I got one last thing. This is has to do with the stream. Cockfighting is illegal in the state of South Carolina, so stop it.
Hey, speaking of Gamecocks, they swept Florida in baseball. Swept them, took them to the woodshed, and left them bruised up behind it.
Got a loser as a Florida fan.
That's a bit. Listen, jokes aside, that's a big sweep. Gamecocks now number 3 in the country in baseball. That's an Omaha team. See you tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. I don't know what is going on in the comments, but can't we all just get along? Can't we all just get along? Speaking of, the mock draft will be dropping. I was going to drop it tomorrow, but now I feel like I've got to like redo the whole damn thing. The whole thing. Anyway. Hey, you guys are great. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. To those of you that did, tell your friends about us. And we will be back here on tomorrow.
Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. That's what follows Monday, Tuesday.
Let's just say I'm glad the show's over, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for hanging out. You're all phenomenal people. I appreciate you all greatly, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Goodbye.